What's up? What's up? What is up? It's another Friday, another opportunity for the Ball Hog Sports Talk coming to you live. And you know how we do it every single week. We come up with topics that connect us to the broader context of sports, business, and entertainment. This week's episode is entitled Uncharacteristic. And this episode, entitled Uncharacteristic, is going to highlight a lot of the things that we saw this week that were uncharacteristic in sports, business, entertainment. And even in my personal life, things have been uncharacteristic. I decided, I agreed to dog sit for my neighbors. And this particular dog that I am dog sitting happens to be a standard white poodle. So all the times that I laughed at the big muscular guy with the small dog, here I am, 6'3", 200-pound black man walking around with a standard white poodle. People think that would probably be considered uncharacteristic. I laugh at myself when I think of the image, because uncharacteristic provides us this moment of pause, this moment of really? And in sports, we saw it this week. Chris Paul, who throughout all of the playoffs, was almost flawless when it came to turnovers. Last two games, games 3 and 4, he has been a turnover machine. And afterwards, everyone described his play as uncharacteristic. On a more serious side, outside of sports, or outside of the field of play, but within sports, Richard Sherman, who I've always revered as someone that, as a Stanford grad that took academics serious, you hear him speak. I always considered him as one of the unique players in the NFL. Unfortunately, he was arrested this week, accused of domestic violence burglary. There are a lot of layers to that story, and unfortunately, the 911 tapes that have leaked and some of the concern that his I think wife, maybe estranged wife, but they're still legally married, I believe. But some of the things that she shared about his condition and the drinking, it gives you a little bit of pause. Uncharacteristic. Uncharacteristic is an adjective, meaning not typical of a particular person or thing. These not typical behaviors, whether it be me walking around a white standard poodle, Chris Paul and his turnovers, Richard Sherman and his behavior, this week is going to be about that. Stay tuned and let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke, because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw, so come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go. What's up? You know what it is. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, here with the crew, none other than the Big Flow Show.
What's good, America?
And you know who he is. ETP Ellis, the producer, in the building.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. No matter what time it is, it's always good.
That means that you are approaching and talking to the entire international community, and I would be remiss not to take that opportunity to say, please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. It's all about the Ball Hog Sports Talk. We are in the building. This week's episode is entitled Uncharacteristic. And in the monologue, the opening, I talked about some things that were uncharacteristic. What I forgot to share is the recap of last weekend's AAU experience that I had. And I saw something that was uncharacteristic, I think, or maybe it's not uncharacteristic anymore. We played the number one 10-year-old in the country. and he was quite the player. It was quite the game. But the thing that I found interesting is that after the game, he had his own vendor booth selling slides, flip-flops with his name on it. And I was thinking, how uncharacteristic is that a 10-year-old has a booth, a vendor booth, selling merchandise? But he was next to another booth of a 13-year-old who was selling his own merchandise as well. Is the name, image, and likeness and the new regulation around it, is this going to become the norm? Is this no longer uncharacteristic? Are these kids selling merchandise going to become the norm? 75,000 Twitter followers for the 13-year-old? Am I sounding old a bit, guys? I just thought
I just want to know if you found the flip-flops to be comfortable.
I almost bought them. He ain't have my size.
You bought some.
How much were they? What was the price on those?
I didn't look at the price. The guy
does he autograph them too?
Yeah,
does he
I don't think he autographed. His name is on the brand. The kid's first name is. I'm not gonna put him on black. Yeah. I mean, hey, I might help him sell some slides. It's King's Court. The kid's first name is King, and King's Court is
the story. Can stop and start there. They named him King.
They named him King. So maybe it was foreshadowing. Maybe they know what's going on. But uncharacteristic, right? As an adjective, I said it's like not typical of a particular person or thing. And we're going to deal with it today in sports business and entertainment because things that you thought were not characteristic or not typical are becoming typical. For example, the AAU kids selling the merchandise. But we got to hop in today and figure out sort of maybe the norms are changing. AAU basketball might just be a glimpse into just how the norms are changing, because we also have our international basketball team has lost 2 games. That was unheard of at one point, that they would lose not 1 but 2 games. This is just a friendly play. The lead ups doesn't count yet, but to see them lose on an international stage gives me a little pause. Makes me, I was rooting for Grant Hill. Now he's taking over USA basketball. I was rooting for Grant Hill. But is that the new norm? Because the international basketball community is definitely catching up. So we'll talk about a few things. ETP, Ellis, the producer, you know what it is. We'll start off with your producer cut segment. Let's go in. What you got for us, man? Quick ones.
Yeah,
Let's go.
It's the quick. Everybody get your stretches so nobody pulls anything. We're all getting old. So we're going to run through the quick warm-up pregame.
That's a myth. That's different.
You heard that's a myth.
I heard it doesn't prevent injuries. I just read it yesterday. Well, that's a whole new show.
Somebody wrote that article who never been good at stretching. Like that's
right. The dude was sitting there sitting Indian style with his legs so crazy. I'm like, I don't understand. This seems so contradictory.
Yeah.
But
it's like it's like the teammate that hates practice, that says, practice doesn't make us any better. We're just wasting time. We could get injured.
Self-fulfilling. So we're gonna stretch anyway. What you got for us?
All right, we'll jump in. So yeah, quickly. So Allison Felix qualified for the Olympics this year. She's the most decorated Olympian in track and field.
Bad Mama Jamma. I had to give her musical celebration. She a bad Mama Jamma, man. Allison Felix. What you got for us? What's
she was dropped by Nike when she got pregnant and she was trying to renegotiate her deal, and as a result, she ended up signing a deal with Athleta, which is she's first signed a deal with Athleta and then also came out with her own brand of shoes called Saish. So she's doing a lot on the commercial side, but also in partnership with the brand Athleta. She's created a fund for childcare, about $200,000 to help female Olympians with childcare costs as they go to Tokyo. So
if they don't use all of it, I might try to tap into that fund. I could use some childcare. I mean, you know what I mean? It is what it is. I can send my kids to Tokyo for a few days. Man, I'll be out here partying.
Childcare if you want to go watch the Olympics. Does that count too, or you have to be
not allowed? There are no spectators this year.
No spectators this year, baby. I just want to be in Tokyo for the parties. But no, that's dope that she's doing that. Nike is taking a black eye. Other athletes violated their non-disclosure agreement and also said that Nike treated them poorly once they found out that once Nike found out that these female athletes were pregnant. But I mean, you do a gender reveal, something, right? Nike, you tripping. People doing these big gender reveal parties. Nike busy dropping people as soon as they find out you're pregnant, or at least changing the relationship that they had with the athlete. And shout out to Allison Felix for not being dismayed by that and instead doing her own thing, her own shoe line. Shout out, man. Hopefully she does well in the Olympics. This is her 1,000,000th Olympics. No, which one? 5th Olympic?
They need to come out with a gender reveal Nike where you put the shoe on, you press a button, and the swoosh, it turns pink or blue in front of you. See? Look,
you might be onto something. Let me give that to them for free. Nike,
I'm just trying to get them, man. Free Allison Felix. You got to get her back right.
Free Allison Felix. Nah, great story. I love the fact that Allison Felix has turned this, what could have been a negative, into a positive. What else you got for us, ETP?
The way gender reveals are going, they might catch on fire. You don't want to do anything with those electric shoes, but we'll see. So the next thing is Zaila Avant-Garde. We've been hearing a lot about her since she won the 2021 Scripps National Spelling Bee competition, but she's a baller, and she's already getting scholarship offers from local colleges and universities, Southern University, LSU, and then also the esteemed College of Louisiana. Where is it? It's the Louisiana Community College. So they've offered her a scholarship as well.
I'll tell you what, man.
They've Louisiana Community and Technical College System.
I'm kind of hating on her only because when we celebrated her last week as the first African American to win the Scripps National Spelling Bee, I was thinking to myself, all right, cool, she's smart and all, but I wish she would pick up a basketball and go, you know what I'm saying? At least could beat her in one-on-one. That's not true. Now that some of these videos have surfaced, this girl could play, man. Not only does she beat you spelling, she will straight cross you up. I love that she has changed what it means to be a national spelling bee winner, because we've seen a lot of them look a little like they got, 2 left feet. You don't think of them as athletes, but she's also changed what it means to be a stellar athlete, because you've got to be quite the studious person to win that national spelling bee. So shout out to Miss Avant-Garde. And
I got to shout out to take this moment in society to see someone got popular for academics, and then we found out they were an athlete. I mean, that's unheard of. The fact that I saw her ride down on a unicycle, dribbling the ball, going behind her back. Like, how have we never heard of this person and we've never seen that she's got the Guinness Book of World Record for dribbling the most balls? All these different things that are on video. And academics is what brought her there. So, hey, shout out to the world.
Shout out. Go on, Zaila. Go on, girl. Get them scholarship offers. Not that she would need them. Something tells me she's going to be going to school for free. Spell that one. Free. She's going to be going to school for free, because that is quite a talented young lady. So happy to hear the story. She is putting the student in student athlete, but also making sure there is a big part of athlete in that student athlete. Get them, Zaila. What else you got, ETP?
On that, I heard they're gonna in the NBA Combine they're gonna add unicycle dribbling based on her performance. So if there can't be any player in the NBA that can do that.
Right. They're gonna get rid of the Wonderlic and they're gonna do a spelling bee.
A spelling bee, yeah.
They'll have so many. The ratings will be ridiculous on that.
Nice. So next one, Tampa Bay Lightning. They brought another title back to Florida, Tampa Bay, following in the footsteps of the Buccaneers. Obviously, Tom Brady knows how to go to places where they win championships or create places that win championships. And they followed in the footsteps of doing the boat celebration. But the difference is it was damage to the Stanley Cup trophy, and it's in the process of being repaired as a result. So they had a little bit more fun even than drunk MCL torn Tom Brady throwing the trophy from boat to boat.
The Stanley Cup Finals, the big tradition is everybody gets a day with it. Everybody on the team, and then some important people. You all get a day with the Stanley Cup. There's somebody whose job is just to tour with the Stanley Cup and stay by his side like a security. So that person might be looking for a job right now if you let the Stanley Cup get injured, because it's handled all these years and the crazy stuff that people doing it, put their babies in there, couple strippers in there, all the kind of stuff in the Stanley Cup and survive. And now it's injured. That person probably looking for a job. Shout out.
Hopefully they didn't put the baby and the stripper in the same Stanley Cup. I don't know how
Stanley Cup. I
hope those are two different players.
I think they sanitize it for COVID reasons, but they make sure that
if there's somebody put their child and a stripper in the same Stanley Cup, they need to give me therapy. But nah, man, Tampa Bay is becoming the city of all party cities. The Stanley Cup has, like you said, under the tradition, gone from household to household. But this time, Tampa Bay done did it. There's real damage to the Stanley Cup. Hopefully somebody can fix it and buff it out. You know, my dad spent his whole life doing auto paint body. Holla at Willie D, man. He'll hook it up. He'll buff that thing out and have it right for you, baby. Willie D, holla at him. Now, he probably backed up a little bit, so it's going to take him a while to get to the Stanley Cup. But y'all holla at my daddy, man. He got it. What else you got for us, right. ETP?
Well, I love how Big Flo talks about Giannis's knee being loose, but the Stanley Cup being injured. So
yes,
a little bit different. So yeah, next one, LA Angels, who are, they have Shohei Ohtani, generational talent, multi-generational talent, pitcher and league leader in home runs in this year's 2021 MLB draft, which for some reason gets almost zero publicity. 20 rounds, maybe that's the reason, but they drafted not 1, not 15, not 19. They drafted 20 straight pitchers in every round, no other position players.
So you got to be thinking, if you're one of the pitchers on that roster, that your job might be in jeopardy. Other than Ohtani, everybody's job needs to be up for grabs. If you draft 20 pitchers, that is clearly saying we got a need to be addressed. We'll see if it pans out for him, man. But it also probably shows that the MLB draft is meaningless. That you can spend 20 picks on one position suggests that it's pretty meaningless. So we'll see. What do you think, Big Flo?
I mean, they got a draft for every farm system. I mean, think about this: if comparing baseball to football. They got to have 5 or 6 pitchers ready to go in the game. Could you imagine if a football team has to have 5 or 6 quarterbacks that had to be ready to go? It would be amazing. So, I mean, you got to pick a lot of them because a lot of them are going to the South Bend Silverhawks, whatever the crazy little levels that you have to get up. So they got to draft them. I think it's the only draft that's not televised anywhere. Or can you watch it online or ESPN Deportes or something like that?
I have no idea where you would watch it, but I will say this with the analogy of a football team that has 5 or 6 quarterbacks. That's happened before, but those teams are normally pretty bottom of the barrel.
They're normally in Ohio, and they wear brown.
Hey, man, go on with that, bro. Go on with that, man. It's a new us, man. You talking about the past, baby. What else you got for us, ETP? ETP, that was the producer.
I would love to see football start doing a closing quarterback, just come through in the fourth quarter and close, shut it down.
He comes and take a knee. That's it.
Yeah. Speaking of football of the Canadian origin, so this is the pregame, this is the stretching, but in the CFL, the Saskatchewan Roughriders did a 6-minute stretch when they restarted their season. 4 players in that 6-minute period tore their Achilles, and then in the same day, 2 other players of another team tore their Achilles as well. So 6 torn Achilles tendons in the first day of opening training camp for CFL.
And they didn't have a season last year, so that makes sense. But as a trainer, you got to lose your job that day.
Yeah, the strength and conditioning.
I don't care what you did in that warm-up. If 4 Achilles tendons snap in that warm-up session, you got to lose your job on the spot. Hey, bro, you fired, right? I mean, what would you be doing to tear 4 Achilles tendons? How does that happen?
Well, what do the trainers do? How do the trainers, which one do the trainers attend to first? They're all laying down torn Achilles.
How many boots could they possibly have? Somebody over there with a makeshift boot. Hey, man, let me get that boot. Mine's worse now. His rolled up. So
what else you got
working about? The strength and conditioning coach dude did something wrong.
Something wrong. What you got for the
6 things wrong.
Safe to say that he did something wrong. Yes.
So last stretch of the day, and then we'll get into the game. So Naomi Osaka, she was honored by Mattel Barbie. She came out with her own Barbie, sold out immediately. It's on back order or out of stock already. So just honoring her in terms of her on and off the field celebrity and performance and poise, and just good to see, the crossover sports. Barbie obviously continues to make, progressive steps in inclusivity and showing different facets of lifestyle. So just good to see Naomi Osaka.
I got one question. Big Flo, where did you put the Barbie after you bought it? I know you got.
Hold on a second. Well, no, I'm not supposed
to. I hope the Barbie has
the packaging.
The package. I hope the Barbie has a Black Lives Matter shirt on, because they're celebrating her as a role model, and she's one of the few athletes that has been unapologetic about being in social activism. Mattel has taken advantage of this amazing young lady at the right young age, at 24, however young she is. Mattel was smart to do it. I love it as a role model, having her captured a person not only as a superstar athlete, but has ethnicity, Black and Japanese, or Haitian and Japanese. I'm sorry. I know.
We Black. No, hold on. We Black.
I know, but I want to be specific. What
I understand.
We Black, Haitian, though. Japanese. So shout out to Miss Osaka.
What's more impressive, having your own Barbie doll or your own signature shoe?
I gotta go Barbie doll.
Jordan never had a Barbie doll.
Never had no Barbie doll. He had a bobblehead, but that's different.
He got a bobblehead. Everybody got a bobblehead. I think it's a bobblehead of us going around someplace. But at the end of the day, having your own Barbie doll is pretty high post to me.
Boss. That's boss.
That's boss.
That's boss. Like,
I might go ahead and buy it, man. My daughter a little too old, but I might go ahead and buy one, man. Just because it's the first Haitian Barbie doll ever, man. I'm gonna go ahead and scoop one.
If you do it, just put it in your background, man. Make sure that the Miss
I'm gonna do it. Now that's a done deal. I'm gonna order it. I'm gonna put it back over there. What y'all want to do? Act like I'll try to be brand new on me.
It's gonna be brand new. Like, man.
If you got an extra 50,000 to buy one off eBay, I'll take one.
Oh, it's stupid like that. They done sold it out. They already turned it into something.
Hey, once it's sold out, supply demand, baby. The secondary market sets the price. What else you got for us, ETP?
So that's it. We're ready to roll. So
let's
we can get into the main topics.
Let's hop in. Main topics of the day. Like we said, today's title, Uncharacteristic. We're going to hop into some main dish topics about what is uncharacteristic, the definition of uncharacteristic as pertains to sports, business, entertainment. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Like we ask you every week, humbly, please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. And subscribe in the podcast world. Ball Hog Sports Talk. Here we go. Main dishes. I got to start with the NBA Finals. Just in general, it is now tied at 2-2. The Greek Freak and the supporting cast, Middleton included. There it is. That's a nice
currently unavailable.
That's currently unavailable. The Big Flow Show is showing us Miss Osaka's.
I tried to support you. I apologize. I tried to support. It didn't work.
Oh, you didn't believe it was sold out. He didn't believe you, ETP. He's like, he got to be.
Actually, I thought he was joking.
Our research team is.
I thought he was just joking.
Checked.
No, they actually sold out. The NBA Finals, though, back to the main dishes. The NBA Finals is tied at 2-2. The Greek Freak, Middleton, and supporting cast Tucker, they did what they needed to do. They held serve at home, tied at 2-2. You think that would be because there was some good basketball played in Milwaukee. I thought that would be the highlight of the NBA Finals storylines, but it turns out that the Greek Freak in both games 3 and 4 disappeared for a little while, and the media, in all of its wisdom, did what they are supposed to do. They asked the right question, and they got him to admit that he left because he had to, and I'm quoting him because I don't use this verb, tinkle. The man had to use the bathroom.
The man from Greece. You don't know what we say.
Yeah. It's the polite way of saying.
It's the polite way of saying it. Like, nah, man, you had the number 1 or number 2. But yeah, that's all you had to say.
But you know what I love about that? It's handled now. Nobody has a problem with the fact he left anymore. Like, it's completely. What are you supposed to do? Pee on yourself? You know what I mean? I had to leave.
You've seen, I'm sure you've known a teammate or two that decided that, you know what?
On the football field, yes.
I can't do this. I'm peeing on myself.
Not on the basketball court. We had grass could soak it up. You're already sweating like crazy, but on the basketball court, that's not acceptable.
It don't make it no less gross that you're peeing on yourself. Come on, man.
I mean, you're not the center. That'll be trifling.
Shotgun.
Oh, like hey, it's a quarterback sneak. Shotgun.
Like that dude smell like, you know what I mean? Straight pissy, literally. I love the fact that he tried to figure out what to call it and called it tinkle. I don't know how he came to that. Just show you, man, like Europe.
He didn't do a Paul Pierce and make him carry him off the court. You know what I'm saying?
I gotta go so bad. You got to carry me to the bathroom. Did you see game 4? What would have been the 6th foul, Devin Booker? The referees decided just not to blow the whistle. And I think in plain view, we saw that there are certain things as makeup calls or makeup no calls. It was clearly a foul, but Devin Booker got his hand on the ball after a whole bunch of contact. And it was after 2 very questionable calls against Devin Booker. The sports Twitter universe has responded like, what in the heck is that? How do you not blow the whistle? I'm okay with the ref not blowing the whistle because at the end of the day, he shouldn't have had 5 fouls. And so don't mess up and give him the 6 fouls. You know, some might say, as purists, a foul is a foul is a foul. Did you have an issue with him not making the call, the referee not making the call to give him the 6th foul and foul out? What do you think, E?
Yeah, the issue is, I mean, it's Devin Booker put the NBA refs in a really tough spot because you have 5 fouls and you're going to intentionally take a foul to try to prevent an open layup. You knew you had 5 fouls. You should have known you had 5 fouls, or, you know, it's like Chris Webber timeout Michigan status. But the refs, at the end of the day, none of us wanted to see Booker on the bench in the crunch. The NBA doesn't want to see that, but he intentionally fouled the guy and they didn't call it. And then they turn around and, you know, when they double team pressed on the inbounds, called a foul before it even happened. So the officiating was just really questionable down the stretch.
It never happened. They were trying to trap the ball and the ref expected them to foul and they didn't. And it was against Middleton. That's a 2-point swing in a tight spot where time and points are crucial. I don't know. Big Flow show.
I think it's terrible. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a foul. You can't do these things like superstars, whatever, get their call. I mean, that happens, but you can't be in the end of a game and don't want to foul a guy out because, I mean, it just changes the game. I mean, or make an announcement, hey, you know, hey, we're going to let Booker do whatever he wants to do. Both teams just know that go hard. You know what I mean? We're not going to call a foul.
Right.
But you can't just not call a foul.
Yeah. The NBA hasn't – I mean, they had the cheating scandal admitted with the referees years ago, and I don't think they've really done anything to change that perception. I think people just kind of accept it because that was – for some reason, there was some motive besides playing the objective referee. The officiating was objective.
I agree, Ellis, if it had been one-sided. But Devin Booker's 4th and 5th foul weren't fouls. So, and you're right. Hey, maybe that was a different referee. There's a referee crew, and so it has a cloud of doubt over it. But I think it was a makeup no call, which is a challenge. And like they said on Blue Chip, on my favorite line, the foul is only a foul if the ref blows the whistle. So that wasn't a foul, man. The ref didn't blow the whistle. It was a makeup. You know what I mean? Makeup to break up. Sometimes you got to make up. It was a makeup no call after, I think, what were questionables, foul 4 and foul 5. But it didn't change the outcome of the game. Well, Milwaukee still won, but it did have us come face-to-face with the reality that the subjectivity of these calls really lends itself to, you know, whether or not somebody's got some money on the game. I'm not accusing nobody of nothing. It's a conspiracy. Spell it. C-O-N.
A lot of refs didn't call that foul. Yeah. For instance, you didn't call. You was out there.
Say again.
I'm just tripping. I just said none of the refs called it. I think they huddled up and said we swallowing the whistle on this one. Nobody called it.
Nobody called the foul. But I mean, most referees are going to do their job. One person has a responsibility on that play, and that person didn't call the foul. And, you know, it is what it is.
I mean, it's almost as if it was a concerted like call from upstairs. Yes. Don't call anything. Don't let Booker foul out because the fact that Mark Jackson during the broadcast was talking about how much that was a foul for 5 minutes. So it just seems like it was just kind of
Mark Jackson gets stuck on something. But Mark Jackson gets stuck on one topic and just makes too big of a deal on it. Fouls get missed all the time. When they showed it in slow-mo, yes, I think he tried to intentionally foul him, but also, yes, he had his hand on the ball squarely. So when it came to his hand, it was on the ball. It was just the contact prior to that. Yeah. And in the same telecast, they had talked about,
but he was wrapped around. He had his arm wrapped around him.
He did. But the hand was the hand was not on any part of his body.
He's punching him in the face with one hand, but as long as his hand
was on the ball. The hand was on the ball. And in the same telecast, he had just admitted that the players had been complaining about the lack of calls and these refs allowing them to play physically. But the referees will admit that playoff basketball is different. It's a different level of physicality. So I don't think it was that egregious. It was only egregious because we all were waiting and holding our breath thinking, oh my gosh, he's about to foul out. It wasn't so bad that it's different than any of the other makeup no calls or makeup calls. That just is what it is in basketball. We know that.
I think your point is the point that you made is the most important, is that it didn't change the outcome of the game. If it had, this would have been a really bad look for the league. Really bad look. Yeah. I mean, for Phoenix to go up 3-1 in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
on a missed foul out,
but it didn't. And Devin Booker went slap off, man. But uncharacteristic turnovers, as was it Rachel Nichols? Someone kept calling the turnovers. It's Chris Paul's turnovers uncharacteristic. And untimely moments led to the downfall of the Suns in Game 3 and 4. We'll see what happens in Game 5. Who you think takes Game 5? And it's tomorrow night. They're spacing it out. They're trying to get all the ratings they could possibly get. Who wins Game 5 and why? Quickly, I'll start with you, Big Flow Show. Who you got winning Game 5 and why in the NBA Finals?
I'm going to go back to the Suns. I just kind of feel like this is just the way things look with the Milwaukee series. Like, they seem like they've taken things over, they're ready, and then they lay down again or whatever. It's interesting, but I think the Suns do it. I don't think that Chris Paul is going to continue to play bad. I think Booker continues to score. Maybe he'll start doing other things. They were teasing him for not having any other stats except for points. But I don't know. I just think they go back and they win it.
Who you got? ETP Ellis, the producer. Who wins Game 5 and why?
I gotta go with Phoenix. Same as Big Flo. When they were in Phoenix, there was this sense of urgency that the Suns had and the ferociousness, and they were ready to fight. And then they go to Milwaukee, and now all of a sudden Giannis seems to have the most urgency out of everybody, and he's playing bananas. But I'm still surprised that Milwaukee can pull off what they're pulling off with essentially absentee coaching. It just shows how much of a freak truly Giannis is, and how much he controls. Just even with that block, when he's help defense, turns around, blocks an alley-oop, it's just irrational. But for whatever reason, like Big Flo said, they go up through their ups and downs. In the locker room when Coach Bud is saying play random, like that's the game plan. I can't trust them on the road, so I'm gonna go with Phoenix.
Just do you. Just do it.
Yeah, just do what you. You guys are professionals. You know what you're
doing. Just let it flow, baby. Let it flow.
Just here to get paid.
Coach Bud out there pimping. He did make some good decisions in Game 4. There was one, but the bar is so low in terms of our expectation for him. That one good decision, and I can't remember what it was right now, but I remember thinking it during Game 4, like, okay, Coach Bud, you finally earned your paycheck. But I say Game 5 goes to Phoenix because of 2 words: Monty Williams. Because the other side of the extreme is Monty Williams is, as I've seen over the course of the playoffs, I think just showing just how good of a coach that he is. And yes, Giannis is playing out of his mind, scoring 40, doing all of that. But still, man, anybody from Europe that talks about tinkling, he used the verb tinkle. He just, it don't work for me, man. I'm not seeing it. I don't know that he can be the one to be the core of a team that wins the championship. Maybe he proves me wrong because he is a matchup nightmare. But we shall see. Game 5 going back to Phoenix, which is why they're taking so long to play it. They got 3 games between, just a soft, SOF, soft. I don't know why these NBA players, man. I'm ready for the NBA playoffs to continue. I want to see the finals, but we got to wait till tomorrow night. We'll see who wins Game 5. All right, other main dish topics. We got to talk about MLB All Star Break. We saw the home run derby. Unfortunately, my man Shohei Ohtani went out in the first round, but that didn't stop him from having a great All-Star game the next day. American League beat the National League in the All-Star game. This is one of the few leagues where the people still seem to take the league part of American League versus National League very personal in the All-Star setup. Pete Alonso went on to win the Home Run Derby, and Guerrero Jr. won the MVP of the game and hit home run to follow his father's footstep in the game. He had a translator with him when accepting the MVP award. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. Stephen A. Smith somehow, some way, stuck his foot in his mouth and said that Shohei Ohtani, being the star of the league as a foreigner, is bad for the sport because he's not as marketable. I pile all that together and say, let's talk about it. What did y'all think about MLB All Star? All the sub stories on the All Star weekend. What did you guys think? I'll start with you. My bad. Go ahead. I'll start with you, Big Flo. Here I am trying to change it up. My bad. What's up, Big Flo? What do you think?
No, I was just saying, I really wanted the pitcher to win it. I wanted that storyline to come back and win it, to go out in the first round, at least get to the wire. So I don't know. I didn't watch that home run derby. I don't know if it was close for him or not, but I'd like to see that. I would like to see him win that one. But in general, it seems like of all the All-Star games and all the major sports, this one seems to have the most weight and people care the most. I don't know if you guys would agree with that.
Yeah.
With home run derby, I don't know if it still gives you the home field advantage for the National League or the American League based on the winner, or do they get rid of that?
I think that does still apply. There's something related to the playoffs based on All-Star. Great question. I don't have a great answer, but go ahead.
Our one of our interns is trapped in a foreign land, so we won't ask him to look it up. But anyway, I think that for some reason I feel like the baseball All-Star game. I'm not a big baseball guy. It's just the most substantial of all of them. So good for them.
And they figured out how to make it competitive because they do connect it to the home field advantage. What did you think, ETP, about the whole weekend?
I thought it was great. So to answer that question, so the winning team does get home field advantage for the World Series. That is confirmed. But I thought it was really good. Show they call it the MLB All Star Break, but Ohtani was working overtime. It was no break for him. He was in the home run derby, starting pitcher, leadoff hitter. So it's just interesting that people are saying that, or Stephen A, or the question that he is or isn't marketable. I mean, he did everything that he could do for the league, and the ratings for this All-Star game were higher than any other major American sport, including NBA. So in the Pro Bowl, obviously the Pro Bowl is not usually that popular, but I think it's great. It's great that they're leaning into it, and the whole interpreter thing I think is really funny because, me personally, if I'm an athlete, I imagine KD would like to have the opportunity to have an interpreter because it just allows you to filter out and you answer what you want to answer and you address what you want to address.
Like, the dude goes on for 35 seconds. Like, he says he's very happy and very grateful for everything. Right. He didn't say that.
Right. Yeah. He had to say more than that.
They cuss. It don't matter.
They're making jokes. They're talking all this garbage, but no, I thought it was good. And also, so with the home run derby, he was out in the first round, Ohtani, but it went to sudden death overtime twice, right? So they were he almost made it out of the first round, but he was exhausted, and he's like I said, he's doing double duty in the All-Star break. So it's a good look for the league.
Yes or no, and maybe with a quick why behind it. Do you think Stephen A. Smith, his notion that Ohtani being a foreigner and being the star of MLB is bad for the sport? Is that yes or no? Because we talked about in the NBA, right? The NBA first team All NBA, 3 out of the 5 players. No, was it 3? Yeah, 3 out of the 5 first team All NBA players this year weren't born on American soil. They are foreigners, and we don't discuss that as a potential negative for the NBA because it's such an international sport. And I think baseball is such an international sport that I question why Stephen A would say it. But I'll give you an opportunity to respond. Does he have some substance there with his theory that it hurts the sport. I'll start with you, Ellis.
I mean, I think I understand his rationale, right? For marketability, to be able to speak, to be the spokesperson of the league. But on the flip side, I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but my assumption is Steph Curry doesn't speak Mandarin or Cantonese, but he is wildly popular in China, right? Like, he is one of the main reasons that basketball is popular. Michael Jordan didn't speak any other language, made the NBA a global sport. I understand the marketability question in the United States and not having that, but baseball has always had a problem with marketability. I think it was like Mike Trout they complained about because he wasn't making himself very public. Baseball players are just kind of different beasts in general, and for the most part, at the end of the day, I'm watching baseball to see somebody do something that's never happened before. So the marketability is there. Ohtani is changing the game, and hopefully it starts to create a norm, right? Where we're starting to see like Russell Westbrook making triple doubles normal, but at the same time, nobody else is really doing it. But hopefully this starts to at least have scouts searching far and wide any country. Because if you can find somebody that can do what Babe Ruth did, but better, it doesn't matter what language they speak. Everybody's going to want to see it.
Great points. Big Flo, I'll let you close it out on this. Was Stephen A on to something by saying that this guy being
extremely short-sighted? I can't believe he even said it. You want to be a global brand. There's so many more people in different countries that are out here spending money with the brand. And when it's just all U.S. guys, it's one thing. But when you have people from a different country, now imagine how popular it is when you're in that country and your player's doing this well. You have someone to look up to that looks like you. I mean, we know it as African Americans, having an opportunity to look up to somebody that looks like you is always great, and it gives that much more spark. Look at what Tiger Woods did for golf, just with the color barrier there. So I think to have a foreigner, we're still going to appreciate his ability on the sports, because that's the one time we can watch something and somewhat come together in this country, is to see somebody hit a home run, dunk a basketball, throw a football, catch a football. Not to say that there's not biases that we don't care in this state, but you got to be looking at the globe and think how great this is for the globe, for basketball, for baseball, to have foreign players do it. And there's a reason why they're coming out here doing this, because it's getting more popular in those countries, and now their players are actually doing it, so it's more worthwhile. So extremely short-sighted. He needs to do something.
I am impressed that we all got through that response to Stephen A. and nobody talked about his hairline, because we kept it purely about the sport. But I think for a moment in his take, he went back to the old Stephen A. that just said stuff just to say it for a response, shock jock type stuff, because I don't know how that's even sensible with the MLB being such an international organization when it comes to fanfare. But we'll see. Ohtani being someone that's able to pitch and hit is next level. That's, that's the Deion Sanders element, being able to play offense and defense. That is, like you said, ETP Ellis, the producer, that is the Russell Westbrook of baseball, being able to do all things and do them well, like Russell Westbrook's triple doubles. So shout out to Ohtani, man. I think he's doing a lot for baseball, making it exciting, and he did the same thing for.
I got one more comment that I want to make on that. What's why it's so stupid is, imagine if a white dude would have said, "Man, it would be so good if this was a white guy doing this, not a black guy." Stephen A. and everybody else, we would be losing our mind. It's like, what are you saying, man? Like, why? It's just such a stupid comment for him to make that statement that it matters. Like, you bringing up racial, nationality type thing. So anyway. Steven, fix your hairline.
There it is. I knew it was coming. What is the handicap? Because ETP went out on the limb and said that he assumes, what happens when you assume, assumes that Steph Curry can't speak Mandarin. What do you think the handicap on that is? If anybody could do it, man, I bet
he's Haitian. We found out he was Haitian.
Everybody Haitian.
Please, Steph Curry Haitian. His mom Haitian on the daddy side.
All right, Steph Curry Haitian.
Steph Curry Haitian.
We need a whole fact finder just to see whether or not you're Haitian.
This is based off of the information Ellis provided.
Census. This is census data.
This is census. All right. That's
what he checked the box.
He checked the box. He's Haitian. All right, so he's Haitian. So that means he can speak Mandarin. I don't know where you're going. First of all, he's Haitian.
Well, Naomi Osaka is half Japanese, and she Haitian. So. Why is it so hard to believe that Steph Curry, because the settlers that came. You know,
you was going so well.
You were going so well, man.
We'll do this on a different show.
You were doing so.
We'll
hey,
do a
man.
show just on why he speaks Mandarin.
And we have my man Parnell, who is currently in Haiti. So this has to be official. Steph Curry's mom is Haitian. He is confirmed.
He traveled to Haiti with Steph Curry's mom. Everyone knows that.
Everybody knows that. All right, y'all, let's hop in. We got another one coming up that also deals with the international aspects of sports. You know, I was this week enamored by soccer. We had the Copa, but we also had the Euros. And I was on edge on Sunday watching the Euros, and that is uncharacteristic, dare I say, for me. Because I didn't watch, I call it soccer, I don't call it football. But the rest of the world respects it as the number one sport. And here we go in the Euros, and we watched at the very end. England, it looked like their Euro championship to lose because on paper and just looking at the rounds, they looked like they were just too good to be beat. They were finally saying that the trophy is coming home. But just like all sports, when you think something is certain, that's when you might want to just take another thought. Take a moment to reflect because nothing is certain. England ends up losing to Italy. It comes down to PKs, and we must have been foreshadowing because we talked about PKs being the worst way to end any competitive match in any sport. But that's not for this show. We did it last week. Then this week, it came down to PKs, and three brothers were among those who took PKs for England and did so unsuccessfully. The England loses to Italy, and these brothers, although it came down to the last PK, the goalkeeper had a lot to do with it. But it seems like these brothers are taking the brunt of the blame, and racism has reared its ugly head in England when it comes to the responses by way of Twitter and social media, and even the royal family. I think Prince William tried to defend come out and speak against these cyber bullies. And they were like, yeah, but what about Meghan Markle? Why didn't you defend her? All right. So the racism has reared its ugly head in the Euros has sparked that. What do you guys think about it? Is England and people have called for England to be banned from Qatar in the next European Championship. It's that bad in a world that is a lot less tolerant of racist behavior. We see this example of racism, and England has to answer for it. What did you guys think about it? In no specific order, no specific topic. Let's just talk about racism in the Euro Championship and England being the captain of what it seems to be racism as it pertains to these football players.
When I watched the game and I seen that last brother going up for the shot, and I said, if you miss it, they're going to kill these brothers, man. I said, it's bad enough they got them out here playing. You know, Europe don't care. They're going to say whatever they want to say. They still got royalty over there. So, we're not in high regard in Europe as a country, not Europe, sorry, England as a country. So I was like, man, if this dude, they're all poor efforts too. They all were really bad shots. As soon as he kicked that ball and missed, I'm like, these brothers going to get torched. I knew it.
And look, Scott Bibb, thanks for watching and being a loyal listener, follower. Appreciate it. But he comments and he says, man, I called it while watching it live. And I did too. Like, we see it and we know the fabric of racism in England. And you're looking at it thinking, right, in London right now, they calling them all kind of racial slurs. And you know it's coming, yet those who are truly dark inside and hateful and racist, they can't hide it. Yet in 2021, when we know that the world has become a lot less tolerant of what we say the old way, like, oh man, that's just how they were raised. We're not making excuses for people anymore. If you're a racist, we're gonna call it out. If you're a Karen, we're gonna put it on video, put you on blast, you're gonna lose your job. And here it is in the center of the most high-profile moment in England sports, and yet they can't hide it. They can't hide it.
Coach,
they're taking to Twitter and it's being documented. Go ahead, E.
Yeah, their fans are called hooligans for a reason. This is, the culture of soccer and then also the history of Great Britain, right? So you put those two things together, it's not a surprise. Before the game, for the match. I mean, the last one, they were shot. They did a laser pointer at the Denmark goalie. That's where this whole thing started. And then before the match in Wembley, they were breaking down barriers, trying to bribe insecurity, and there were brawls outside. Then when they were before they started the game, they were booing because the team was kneeling for racial and to call out racial injustice. So it was just a culmination. And then once same as Scott Bibb, I'm watching it live, and the first guy misses, then the next guy is black. I'm like, okay,
I didn't even know
see how this goes. And then I was like, okay, if the last player is black and he misses, this is going to be mayhem. And the problem with that is, it going in, right? This is the place that had Brexit. I mean, this is the
That's
world.
Probably why he missed all that pressure on him. He's like,
the last kid, Osaka, he's 19 years old. Or 18 or 19. There were other players apparently on the team that didn't want to take the PK because of the pressure. He was put in that position. He broke down at the end. I mean, one thing that I did learn, or it challenged my opinion, was penalty kicks aren't guaranteed, right? There is definitely some challenges to it. I mean, they missed 3 in a row, but and the goalkeeper was good, but yeah, they definitely choked, I guess, but the fact is, they wouldn't have been there without all of those players. And the kid that missed at the end, he was snatched down by his collar, and they didn't even really penalize the Italian player. And he should have gotten
at the very end of the game.
Been out the
he
game.
would have missed the shot anyway.
Yeah.
At the very end of the game, that was a Devin Booker non-call moment when you see the guy intentionally just grab him from behind, and it's like the defensive back that's beat for 6. I'd rather take the pass interference, but they didn't even call the pass interference, to use the analogy. But to see these brothers under such duress and know that not only are they going to be the center of attention because of all of the racial implications to seeing these brothers take these kicks for England, but their families. These brothers' families are under attack now. And I'm like, initially when I heard the calls for England to be banned from the next European Championship, I was like, that's going too far. But I don't know that it is. In 2021, trying to get to a point where we set a new norm, and the concept, and this show's title, Uncharacteristic, that whole adjective, not typical of a particular person or thing, I'm not certain that would be true for the racism in England. It's not uncharacteristic.
Has there ever been any team banned because of their fans?
I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, we're in new territory. Probably not.
What were you gonna say, Eric? I mean, Eric.
No, I would say they I don't know who Eric is. They've been. I mean, they'll be fined. Yeah, they'll be fined. I don't think they've been banned, especially not from the World Cup. I mean, there's been reasons why teams didn't play in the World Cup, like apartheid and other things like that.
Right,
well, that's right. Qatar's World Cup. So they're calling for them to be banned from the World Cup, not the next Euros. Right. All right. Yeah. So World Cup.
Yeah. It's bigger. The World Cup. Yeah, the biggest global football or soccer tournament in the world. Right. And they're talking about banning them, which would be a reasonable penalty in my opinion, based on their history. I mean, England, they need some repercussions because their fans are just totally classy.
I know, but that's like that's like the idea.
No tickets. You get no tickets to the game. No tickets
like
to the game.
Idea, but it's also like the idea of reparations in America or affirmative action policies. All that's going to probably do is result in racists becoming more racist, because then they're going to blame the not participating in the World Cup on Black people. Like, racists are going to find a reason to attribute everything to race. And I think England, when it's all said and done, as a country, has to examine itself, because it ain't like one or two brothers living just in London. Like, Black folk live in Great Britain, y'all, like by the droves. Yet we see that also racism exists by the droves when it comes to their response to these players. So I hope that those brothers are able to overcome this, because they are all great football. That's how you say that. Football players.
That's how you say it.
So
what language is that?
Mandarin. Yeah, that's like that's Haitian Mandarin.
Yeah.
Haitian Mandarin with a Haitian
Mandarin Creole.
We got to hop into, you talk about, because I think the fans were clearly showing that they were sore losers. Yeah. And another example of being a sore loser, Conor McGregor, while because of I guess it was a TKO, technical knockout, because he broke his foot. While on the ground with a broken foot,
run his mouth,
is sitting there threatening Poirier's life and his wife's life, saying he gonna take it, and I'm gonna kill you in your sleep. This Conor McGregor saga. The man, the myth, the legend that is Conor McGregor. Anybody else making attacks on someone in that moment, threatening their life, I think we respond differently. We just accept it with Conor McGregor. Like, Conor McGregor is going to get another fight with Poirier,
for sure.
And I just don't know how. And I'm probably saying his name wrong. I'm not a UFC guy, so excuse me. I'm trying to be. But the whole idea that
Haitian,
someone sitting on the ground with a broken foot Haitian. Is still in a position where he's threatening somebody's life. I think two things. A, we accept it because it's Conor McGregor. And B, that's why I don't watch it, man. It's take a whole different type of Neanderthal to do that. Because once I'm broke my foot, I'm focused on something else. But them dudes are out to kill each other. And you normally say that figuratively, but it sounds like Conor McGregor might be out to actually kill this man and his wife. How does Conor McGregor still exist, and why do we just accept it? I don't know what it is about him.
It's just tough talk. He runs his mouth, and they love him. They don't care, like you said. It's all tough talk. You down there with a broken foot. He should have went and stepped on his foot when he said that to him, though.
No, he did say, I almost broke his other foot. Because that's that UFC mentality.
I don't know. Shelton Jordan, one of our loyal listeners, his birthday. Shout out to you. Happy birthday today. He can explain that kind of stuff. He lives and breathes UFC, but I think it's tough talk. At the end, I always thought that pregame mouth running usually was just after watching the movie Ali. I stopped believing in it, but I believe they really don't like each other, and I believe it's real personal there. So I don't know. I mean, break his leather leg next time. See what happens.
Definitely not uncharacteristic. We've seen these antics from McGregor before, and from a fan perspective, I would say it's uncharacteristic because normally we just write people off. And I see Scott Bibbs wrote Tyson did the same thing. But at some point, like, people got tired of Tyson. When Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear, we weren't running around saying, I understand. He was just frustrated. People wrote Tyson off because he became too extreme. When is it too extreme with this Conor McGregor guy? Because he seems to just continually do ridiculous things, and fans just they accept it. And I would go even further. They embrace it. There's people like, oh, man, that's the type of guy you want. What? You threaten a man's life and his wife's life? You're going to take his life in his sleep? What do you think, ETP?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's his claim to fame, right? So it's eventually there becomes a bridge too far. But the reason why he is as popular and as profitable and successful as he is because of his wordplay, like the language that he uses, the brashness, the machismo, all of those things, and it goes too far. He slips up all of the time. I mean, there was one, I think, when he was going to fight Mayweather, and he said, "I'm half black. I'm black from the waist down." Right. So he's been saying the most irrational things, and that's what gets the attention. And it's good TV. You love him or you hate him. I think the biggest thing is the man is in a medical emergency, which wasn't a TKO. It was a doctor stoppage, which he specified and argued for while his leg was bent in half. And then he gets a microphone. This combat sports in general is just, it's a culture that we can't wrap our heads around.
Don't make sense.
This man is about to go into emergency surgery, and Joe Rogan puts a microphone in his face.
Lose the foot. Look like he could lose the foot.
Yeah,
right?
And Joe Rogan's like, so what do you think about the fight?
Sweep the leg.
I think my leg is broken.
Tape it up.
Sweep the leg.
So
give me some credit.
But yeah, I mean, he obviously crossed the line. He's talking about killing him, but it's theatrics, right? I don't know how much
in their sleep. In their sleep. He's talking about killing them in their sleep.
As long as you stay woke, you straight.
Yeah. But I think it's so egregious. It's kind of like Trump, Trump support. A lot of Trump support is like, oh, well, he doesn't mean anything by it because it's so left field that you just look at it as entertainment. But at the same time, I mean, we know, Ali and Frazier, Ali borrowed money from Frazier, and they had a relationship, but they made a spectacle of their.
I got it.
So I don't know. Who knows? I mean, it could be that they're just trying to, they're trying to sell more tickets for the next fight. We just don't know. It's entertainment, or it's real. But it's the problem is we accept the culture of this level of entertainment. So it's our own faults that we allow that to continue. And if something does come to be, then we always want to watch the tightrope, watch the celebrity walk that tightrope, whether it's drug abuse or domestic violence or things off the field. There's always something that we're drawn to in terms of athletes and entertainers. This is no different. The question is whether or not this was for the ratings, or it was really where he's coming from. I don't know how a man can stay in character when his leg is broken in half, but
hey man,
he's a special type of person.
That's some real dislike. We are officially at the hour mark. So I take this moment to ask you again humbly, please like, please comment, please share. Everything from here is overtime. We got some good stuff for overtime. So stay tuned. Here we go. I go from a guy who I don't know if he's uncharacteristic in that moment with the broken leg, but he definitely was defeated. Even if it wasn't a TKO, you don't want to be sitting there with a broken leg as the person that you're fighting is standing over you. So undefeated. I go from that to a guy who seems never to lose, because Drake is in the news for what seems to be an amazing date. A helicopter caught him using Dodger Stadium to take out a date. We come to find out that it's one of Bronny's teammates, some high profile, highly recruited basketball player. Drake is dating his mama. And so I say, because Drake is half rapper, half balladeer. He sings through his lyrics.
I'm a balladeer.
I'm a balladeer rapper. He's both. But this is anything but uncharacteristic for the average dating man. Like, how do you then compete against a Drake if you in the whole dating scene in LA and he written Dodger Stadium? So uncharacteristic for the average single man trying to find a date on one of these apps, but not uncharacteristic for Drake.
What do you mean we're going to Outback?
Outback, you better go get that. You better go get Staples Center. Yeah. You better go get you some Staples Center in your life.
Lakers ain't playing tonight. Let's go.
Is Drake the ultimate light-skinned balladeer rapper, and he keep on winning when it comes to dating, man. He dated Rihanna. He keeps winning. I gotta give it up to him. Drake, that dude, man. Maybe we all had it wrong.
Hey,
we 80s, 90s rap fans, we had it wrong. Walk around baggy jeans and Timberlands with a big old scowl on our face looking tough. We had it wrong. We should have been singing like Luther Vandross, because Drake made it right. Uncharacteristic in terms of rappers, but I tell you what, he winning, man. He keep on winning. The young lady is beautiful, and I'm sure that the guy, the basketball player, gets teased in the locker room now, because we don't believe in having feelings in the locker room. All the lyrics. What's the one lyric? He got a bunch of lyrics about what he does with the young ladies, and all the guys are probably saying, "Man, he talking about your mama right now." some good yo mama jokes in that locker room.
But what you guys think? Love Jones and his mama. You know what I'm saying? He got her in the middle of Dodger Stadium, candlelight dinner or whatever. If your mama gonna date somebody, your daddy not taking your mama to Dodger Stadium.
You know
what I'm saying? Y'all
not even for a game, let alone a date.
Yeah, people asking us to get the snack bag handed to your mama. So, at least somebody dating his mom. She's good looking. Obviously, the other players on the team probably be talking about how his mom. So this kid is actually from Chicago. So my son grew up playing against him multiple times. So I've been around his mom a lot.
Is she beautiful? Come on, right here the ball.
I'm gonna say she's LA. LA has changed her look. She doesn't. I don't recognize her as the same woman that I knew when they were young. I'm just gonna say that. Most people, when they get older, don't look better, but she looks better now with her age. So, hey, I'm gonna give her a clap. But I'm saying that she's probably taking advantage of what's going on there. But they had a reality basketball parent show that she was on. Then they moved to Cali, kind of dramatically when he was supposed to go to one of the major high schools out here. He's a top 10 player in the nation. I think he's going to UCLA. He can really play. Just for the record, shameless plug, never beat us. We beat him every time we play. But when he's getting drafted in the lottery, we got you. remember
you know what it is. You
but
remember
I mean, she's doing her. She making money as a model. She does basketball camps. I guess they say she's worth $9 million. So she's not really just super thirsty out here. She wasn't worth $9 million when she left Chicago.
I'm tripping. Maybe she took Drake to Dodger Stadium. I'm tripping. You know what? My bad. Who knows who arranged?
And she a cougar too, because she got to be at least 10 years older than Drake. At least.
Yeah, I think she like 8 or 9 for sure. I just want to know what type of food did they eat at Dodger Stadium? Like, are they eating hot dogs and Cracker Jacks?
Yeah, I bet it wasn't none of that. It was not vendor food. I bet that.
Like, did they bring in? Did they bring in a different caterer, or was it the Dodger dogs or whatever?
Beer do every time they
drink out of a helmet.
Did the beer man come by when they wanted to order a drink, or a menu?
Drake, stop changing the game, man. That's uncharacteristic, man. Brother just trying to go out on a date. You messing it up. Now all of a sudden everybody wants you to rent a stadium and all that good stuff. Another topic in the main dishes, man. Lamar Jackson, and he just keeps it real. Our form of street racing. If you're not from, I'll go ahead and give it to you. I'm from South Florida, SOUF, South Florida. And in South Florida, we street race, SKREET, we street race. And that is like the badge of honor. That's when you know you're a real athlete. You go out there, line it up. We go from light pole to light pole. That's how we do it. But Big Trust ain't done running the streets, baby. There's a new video that has surfaced of him on a basketball court, running routes and defending these young kids, having a good old time, throwing dimes out there, touchdowns. And he has come under a cloud of scrutiny because of it, because some of the sports purists, one sports purist or pundit in particular said, you shouldn't be taking that risk. You're in line to make possibly $40 million a year while you out there. That's when keeping it real goes wrong. Imagine if you get hurt out there. There's sort of a back and forth. Other people have stepped up and said, if this was any other quarterback, imagine a white quarterback in his neighborhood, the story would be about how he is so down to earth. But with Lamar Jackson, it's about him taking this risk. He's in the 4th year of his rookie contract, and he is in position to making a lot of money. The pundit that I'm talking about said if he had an agent, because Big Trust has chosen not to have an agent. He feels as though his play is doing all the negotiating for him. It's an interesting story that I thought was lighthearted, but now there's some more socioeconomic layers to the story because of this pundit coming out and speaking so assertively against the decision to go out there and be amongst his folks, amongst the young people. What did you guys think about it? Is this much to do about nothing, or does the pundit have a legitimate gripe that here's a potential $40 million a year franchise quarterback risking it all when he should be concerned about both his money and his teammates? I'll start with you, ETP.
If this was a camp, this would not even be a conversation. Guys players run camps all the time. They might get involved in a drill here or there. I mean, what was he supposed to sleep in a hyperbaric chamber for all his life until he gets on the field? I mean, he's playing a sport where he's basically getting hit by a car 80 times, 80 times a season for the most part. And so, at the end of the day, there was no real contact. I mean, they weren't wearing pads, helmets. It just doesn't make sense. He's running around. I mean, he was pushing the kids around, but for the most part, look, the level of injury, there's risk in everything. I just don't think that it's as big a deal as they're making it out to be. I understand that he's trying to negotiate a contract, but at the end of the day, OTAs is as much of a risk as anything. Preseason games, things that don't count for the season, but we don't talk about those as, I can't believe the Lamar Jackson's taking snaps in a preseason game that means nothing.
Look, Lamar Jackson, if somehow, some way you get a hold of this copy of the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, we'll say this as a group, we will help you negotiate that $40 million a year. Shameless plug. We got you, bro. We got you. And we ain't gonna charge. We
give you a discount.
We give you a discount. You know what I'm saying? We give you a discount. We got you, bro. Did you think that there's some there to the pundit calling out Lamar Jackson, the Big Flow Show?
You know what? I get it. If you watch the tape, he probably was a little bit too physical when he was playing defense. He was mugging that dude, right?
He was. He had him over in the cheap seats playing corner press
terrible.
technique.
He was not going hard when he went. I don't feel like he created as much separation as I would like to see him create, to be honest. He was running his route. I felt like the dude was there and he had to jump up and catch it over him.
Right.
But it seemed like everybody was lighthearted enough where you didn't have anybody doing anything goofy. He was having some fun. They were on the little court running around. It wasn't like he's running full-on routes. Dude didn't go up and try to like tear the ball out of his hand. He was honored to be getting beat by Lamar. So I think you got to take it for what it is. You know, I'd be more worried if he's out there running full court basketball, people going to the hole trying to dunk on folks. But he was having fun. He's a world-class athlete. You got to give people – when you're a great athlete, you don't get hurt as often when you're going against regular goofy people if you can control yourself and do whatever. It was super lighthearted, super fun, except for when he was on defense. I thought that was physical as hell. But besides that, it was.
But he was imposing that physicality. Nobody was doing
killing
anything
that
to
dude,
him.
man. He mugged him. He was like windshield wiper. He brought him to the right, brought him to the left. I'm like, man.
That's when you know you made it, though. When you just made a statement, he should be honored to be pressed off into the cheap seats by Lamar Jackson. That's when you know you made it as an athlete. Like, I'm honored to have you dominate.
Get you beat the hell out of me.
But they seem to have a good time, and the level of influence a guy like Lamar Jackson has, straight from the no, baby, Pompano. For all of us that live up north, you call it Pompano Beach. The Pompano Beach part of Pompano is a different area. He from Pompano, like, you know what I'm saying? Collier City part of Pompano. And to see him out there on that blacktop on a basketball court with all the other kids, it looked like from the city, from Pompano, the level of influence that a player like Lamar Jackson has, because he did it his way. By being a kid from Pompano and not trying to assimilate and change who he was. This particular pundit has no idea what level of influence that is and how just being there, showing up, giving them that time and attention could literally save a young kid's life, because they're making choices at times between a life that could spiral out of control very quickly and making the right decisions because they see themselves in Lamar Jackson. And I think that it just this entire story captures the cultural differences that we have in America. He is a president, if you will, a president-like figure in neighborhoods like that. So shout out to Lamar Jackson for embracing that role and doing it so well. All right.
And he might have been a negotiation tactic, right? Now he goes into the negotiations and say, look,
I can play DB.
Pay me, I won't do that.
Right. Oh, I thought you was gonna say he can go in like, look, I can play DB and receiver too. Pay me.
Yeah, man. I'm the Shohei Ohtani of the Baltimore Ravens.
Straight up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, real good.
We gotta hop on this team. We gotta
on
hop
the unicycle.
On the unicycle, straight up. I ain't breaking no records. I bet he can't spell. They like her. Team USA basketball losing. I'm a big Grant Hill fan. Now he's taking over for Team USA basketball, but they redeemed themselves a little bit by beating Argentina 108-80. But before that, they had lost 2 exhibition matches to both Nigeria and Australia. And I think that if there was a panic alarm, people would have hit it. Because 0-2 in international play, yes, they're exhibition matches, but the teams seem to be a little lackluster. Do we have a problem? And on the women's side, our women's international team lost to the WNBA All Stars. That's a little more understandable. The WNBA generally doesn't have an All-Star game on Olympic years, so this was a new format. When it comes to the men, do we have a problem? Is Grant Hill in the midst of chaos because the international community is caught up? And will we see the same thing on the women's side because there's so much international basketball being played? Are we in trouble, or is the gold medal still ours to lose? What do you say? I'll start with you, Big Flo.
You know, I was checked online because I said I was tired of hearing about KD. I don't want to hear nothing because everybody want to kill LeBron for anything he does. So I'm like, KD lost 2 exhibition games. But then somebody came out and said that KD barely playing in the games. Like, they're just treating them like warm-up games. So, you know, preseason or preseason, when Indianapolis Colts were having they had that run where they were getting to the Super Bowl or really making great seasons when they had Manning, they traditionally lost all of their preseason games. It was like one of their stats. They kept doing it. So I guess if you're trying to work on something, you put a team together, you almost want to test the limits to the point where you lose or could lose a game if you're taking it. You're playing those things to win. You're not really taking out your kinks. So I went from – I would never panic, but I went from criticizing to realizing that they're just putting in work.
Just putting in the work. How about you, ETP?
Yeah. I mean, KD might not have played that much, but he played enough to have some highlight blocks for the other teams. He had one against Nigeria and one against Australia too. So I think it's questionable. The thing about
on ball, were the blocks on ball or from the back side of a shot? Just meaning was the on ball
mano. You haven't seen it?
The Nigeria,
I haven't seen it yet. I will be looking at it.
The player from Nigeria, he went straight up and he sat him down. And then the other one was more of just like he was in the lane trying to put up a little floater, and Tybal from the Sixers, who plays for Australia, I think, blocked him. So that one wasn't as impressive, but the first one was a Nigerian poster.
Wow.
So the thing about it is, I know these guys haven't played together much the way these other teams have. They've been playing on the national team for many years, but at the end of the day, like, you're playing guys that don't make all-star teams at least, right? So KD, Dame Lillard, you would just think maybe they played a long season, or they have been putting a lot of miles. Some of these guys might be trying to, take this as a little bit of rehab before they actually get to the Olympics. Bradley Beal is now out. That's a concern. So they need to replace him due to COVID protocols. It's funny because I thought it was an automatic win, not automatic win, but I definitely thought that they'd walk in. But after kind of seeing how they play, they're not up for it. But to Big Flo's point, it's preseason technically.
Yeah, but I say because the show title is uncharacteristic, adjective meaning not typical of a particular person or thing. Is this still uncharacteristic? Our USA men's basketball team losing in international play, is that still something we would consider uncharacteristic? Yeah, and I'll just yes or no. You still think it's uncharacteristic?
Uncharacteristic. It is. The record speaks for itself.
Yeah. Well, but not the first time. They lost in 2004.
Okay. We're 2021 right now. That's a long time ago. I love people that weren't born back then. You know what I'm saying? It's a long time. It's uncharacteristic, right?
Yeah, well, but it's which one's uncharacteristic?
Losing in general.
I think losing in 2004 was more uncharacteristic because the fact that the international, the other teams internationally had caught up, but now a lot of pro players are playing on these the pro NBA players are playing on these national teams. Their teammates, it's like the Miami Heat bench was the Nigerian team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go back to why Stephen A. Smith is an idiot. But go ahead.
Yeah. All right. For the last entree of this week's show, and then we're gonna get out of here. There go LaMelo. Who? LaMelo Ball Weekly LaMelo Watch, baby. Y'all know what it is. LaMelo won an ESPY for the best breakout athlete. He got up there with his shades because that's what these young folk do, Generation Z. They wear shades everywhere. And he wore his shades in there, and he said, man, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I wrote something, but I don't even remember what I wrote. Like, you know what I mean? He said, then the rain came. I don't know how the rain makes you forget your speech. But anyway, he said it. He said, then the rain came, and I don't even know. Man, I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. I just want to think of my family. He's like, really? My mama? Yeah, matter of fact, just my mama. And that speech is going viral. I don't know if the expectations are just so low for these ESPY speeches. But while that's a story, the real story is LaMelo this week joins forces with a Black woman-owned training and rehab technology platform, and on and off the field. This one being off the court, rather, because both in the speech, just being impromptu and direct and vulnerable, because he talked about his mama, and in his business decision. LaMelo's showing y'all the way, man. Just you can acknowledge that I connected y'all, hooked you up, let y'all know this boy, man. I just saw something in him.
He's the new role model.
Man, he gonna come out with a Barbie doll soon. Come on, Mattel, give us a LaMelo
Ken
Barbie
doll,
doll.
LaMelo Ken doll.
What do y'all think about LaMelo's business decisions before we let him out? You know, it's sports business and entertainment here at the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. Before you weigh in, I got to ask everybody again, humbly, please like, please comment, please share. LaMelo Weekly Watch. What you got, ETP? You know what it is, LaMelo.
I love it, man. I love it. It's, obviously his father is very entrepreneurial. He's taken on a lot of those learnings. He's a young kid. He's 19 years old. He's already into venture capital and investing and, building out his portfolio. It's great. And he's supporting businesses that, could use a lot more awareness. And it's supposedly this is a product that he uses. So he's an interesting kid, and he's carrying fame really well. And I can't wait to see him like when he hits his prime. It's doing well.
The Big Flow Show. What you got?
I think the world it belongs to the young generation. I think when we were growing up, we were coming out, our parents got, man, I can't believe these kids listen to the hippity hoppity music or whatever. And that's just the way it's going to be the future. So you got to look at these kids, and I know you joke when you say he's showing us the way, but in some ways you just got to look at them. Things are different. They're doing some things way better, way more advanced than people in our age are doing. Thinking his mama and not his daddy seems like a story in and of itself to do that. But I mean, if he's making business moves, he's supporting businesses that are underserved, I should say, in the past, and it works, I'm happy. I'm happy for the man. You know what I mean?
As far as saying mama without daddy, man, get ready for it, bro. Because when Little Flo gets drafted, like that's what boys
can't
do.
Say just my mama. Though.
They ain't gonna, man. Get ready for it, man. Don't be if you cry when it happened. We can document on the 16th of July, 2021. We told you it was gonna happen. That's what boys do, man. They focus on their mama. That's what happens, man. And so
I'm better than that.
Yeah, that's what you think. That's the same thing LeVar saying. All the time I spent, and all you're gonna do is focus on your mama. That's what boys do, man. They belong to their mamas. I think LaMelo in this episode of Uncharacteristic, not only thriving in a superstar role as a rookie, as the rookie of the year, as the breakout athlete in terms of the award for the ESPYs. I think it does have a connection to what dad had done for him, or had done for him in the past, and setting him up, putting him on that profile. He seemed like a veteran in a rookie's body, and that is just Generation Z, and it goes back to that AAU experience that I had. There's a 10-year-old kid selling flip-flops with his name on it. There's a 13-year-old kid with a vendor booth selling all kind of stuff, sleeves and knee pads and all of that with different things on it. And I think the whole idea of what uncharacteristic means is evolving. These athletes are becoming entrepreneurs earlier. These athletes are understanding what it means to have fanfare earlier. And so it is not uncharacteristic as a result to see LaMelo Ball as a rookie looking so comfortable in his superstar status. Like everything in sports, business, and entertainment, evolution matters, and we're seeing it by way of LaMelo and other examples of these young superstars. With that, man, any parting shots before we let the people go? We got to get out of here. I'll start with you, the Big Flow Show. What you got for the weekend? Any shout outs, anything before we let them go?
Shout out to nobody. Shout out to myself.
There you go, man. Shout out to yourself.
People don't do that enough. I'm gonna shout out myself. Good luck, Reg, this weekend.
I like that, man. Third person reference as well. What you got for him, ETP? Any shout outs, parting words? What you got?
Oh man, stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.
I will end with this. Happy birthday to our girl, Miss Majestic Maya. Her birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday. You already gave a shout out to my man.
Happy birthday, Maya.
Happy birthday, Miss Majestic Maya. You gave a shout out already to Chufu Jordan. It's his birthday today. I guess it's
black.
Cheeky black, y'all. It's cancer season. Shout out to everybody that continues to listen and watch and be a part of this journey. We ask you, like we ask you every week, humbly, please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. It's the Ball Hawk Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown ESQ, aka the Ball Hawk, aka the Mouth of South, aka Mr. Excessive Celebration. I get the privilege of being on this platform with two amazing people, the Big Flow Show and my man ETP Ellis, the producer. Join us next week. We're going to have amazing, riveting topics, and we're going to bring it to you the only way we know how, rough, rugged, and raw. And with that, we is out. Peace. Enjoy.